IS mods have been controversial from the get-go. I mean, for one, they were just so unexpected and totally unprecedented. But even beyond the initial surprise, I can see why. I mean, my favorite character, Viviana, got a major buff from a mod. In giving her burn and over doubling her damage output, she suddenly became a lot more viable in a lot more scenarios. And finally, people were giving her the attention I thought she deserved all along. If that buff had been restricted to a specific game mode and not the whole game, I would have been livid. And especially considering that not everyone plays IS in the first place, if your favorite character was only good in a mode that you hate, that sucks. Like, there's no other way to say it just sucks. What's more is that we're at a point in the game where power creep is increasing at a rate we've never seen before in Arknights. So why do Exualt, Tragodia, Wishadel, and all the others get to be stupid broken everywhere, while your favorite character might be limited to only getting that in IS? And even then, still be competing for vouchers against these busted units. But I think part of the problem is that the balancing mistakes that are the current meta units have distracted from the best aspects of Arknights balancing. To me, the game's balance has always been at its best when there are clear strengths and limitations to units, letting each have their own unique niche. I like that Viviana has better than Surtur's single target DPS without needing to be redeployed, but doesn't have her heli drop or multi-target on S3. To me, that's good balance. And think about the supposed bad 6 stars too. Units like Carnelian and Vigil, contrary to popular belief, will not cause you to lose a stage just by being in a squad. In fact, both can offer things to your team that are generally pretty nice to have. A cheap, fairly durable 3-block with DP gen, that's nice. True AoE damage in a wide range along with very good crowd control, also very nice. But neither offer something that no other unit can provide, which is why they are seen as being so weak. It's not that they're useless, or even that they really are weak, but rather that they're replaceable. They just don't have a niche. This heavily informs how I see IS mods. They're not there to make a unit universally busted. They're not trying to make them the next Exualt. They're giving them a specific niche where they excel, while still letting them have areas where other units can take over. And that is Arknights balancing at its best, and is consistent with how the game has been designed for a long time, apart from a few specific recent examples. And I think it's important to remember that units that have specific niches aren't the balancing mistakes. The problem is the units that are just universally overpowered. All that said, I'll admit that it's not perfect. It's a bit forced, a bit heavy-handed, and the complaints earlier still stand. These mods shouldn't replace them being balanced elsewhere and shouldn't be the only good mods that some of these units get. And if you don't play IS, or if your favorite unit gets an RA mod instead, you shouldn't have to just hope that eventually they'll get an alter. But given how wacky these mods are, and how they seem to mostly care less about balance with these mods and more about fun, for me personally, at least as someone who does like IS, I can forgive them for being a bit awkward about things. Plus, with how out there most of the effects are, I appreciate that none of them really power creep other units. Like, no one else is doing what they're doing, so while they might cause you to rethink your voucher picks, they're not directly replacing any other unit. While meta DPS units like Exualt and Wishy stomp everyone else's damage into the ground, and Tragodia becomes the one-stop shop for crowd control, having units that just do their own thing is really, really cool. And while I was initially skeptical of these mods, it's a big part of what's gotten me to come around to liking them so much. But let me know what you think. I know this is a fairly controversial topic, and as someone who actually plays a ton of IS, my perspective is not universal. I'll try to be in the comments as much as I can, and you can always feel free to stop by my streams to let me know what you think. Anyway, I should get back to working on my next operator guide, so until then, auf Wiedersehen.